Hello everyone, Maryann here from Revealing Light, Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. Wherever you are in the world, when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. Thank you all for your support of my channel, through your comments, through your likes, through your subscribing to my work in any other way that you choose to support me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be reading on the Middle East, of course, which people are describing we're on the brink of a regional war. I don't think we're on the brink at all. We are seeing a regional war in the Middle East. What we don't want to see is a full-scale world conflict as a result of what's going on in the Middle East at the moment. I'll be looking into that and asking some what I would consider pertinent questions, and then we will be going to the Hurricane Helene and the outright lies that are being spread by extremists, simply, as I see it, to swing the vote in North Carolina toward Trump, the convicted felon. We'll look at those lies and whether or not it has any influence at all. I'm heartened to see local media on the ground calling the lies out, even if legacy media federally or nationally does not. And there's another hurricane, Hurricane Milton in the Gulf of Mexico, on its way to cover Florida, and we'll see whether that is going to cause any widespread disaster that we're seeing in places like North Carolina. I sincerely hope not. To begin with, I'm going to go to a few sources here just to, I guess, encapsulate what I'm seeing in various independent media and various Middle Eastern sources over the weekend. Ori Goldberg is a Jewish, I don't know what you call him. Is he he tweets. He's a former academic with a PhD in Middle Eastern in Middle Eastern studies, and he's actually living in Israel. And for those that don't understand what Netanyahu's actions are doing, over 60% of Israelis disapprove of their government, their own government, and something like 30% approve. And so we do need to put that into context. Israelis themselves are extremely worried, extremely traumatized, extremely concerned. The hostages are still left in Gaza. I have read that some of them are still alive, particularly the younger hostages. And in response to that, Netanyahu is attacking Lebanon, and there's of course a ground invasion into southern Lebanon. A couple of the points in relation to that: before he launched the terrible attacks, he's destroyed the Lebanese health system in Beirut, bombing indiscriminately, as we have been seeing in Gaza. The Hezbollah leader had actually accepted a ceasefire, said they would stop, and yet Israel went ahead and invaded anyway. So what's it like in Israel right now? Well, flights to New York are fully booked, and so a lot of Israelis are leaving where they can, are leaving their country. Ori Goldberg says on the eve of, this was 6 hours ago, on the eve of October the 7th, Israel is at its most solipsistic. I can't pronounce that anyway. We have armed terrorist shootings in the Israeli heartland on a weekly basis. This is the news that you don't see. Our most recent one today in Beersheba involves shooting, but there were so many armed people around, we don't know who shot who. He goes on to say, and I want to preface this, there are reports that reservists are having to drive, their families are having to drive them to the front because there's no transport to get them there. Everything is breaking down, Ori says, from public transportation for reservists on the way to the front to the convening of cabinet. Our transportation minister doesn't remember if she attended cabinet when she returned from an essential trip to Hungary. Still, we will destroy with vigour. He's saying that tongue in cheek. Our Prime Minister visited soldiers on the northern border and called them the victory generation. He said the world is in awe as it watches the blows we deliver to our enemies. French President Emmanuel Macron has come out and said arms deliveries to Israel must be halted. We must intervene and find peace and a ceasefire in that region. He joins the Italian Prime Minister wanting a peacekeeping force in the Middle East. He joins the Belgian government, who has called for the arms embargo. UK has hinted as well. Anyway, Ori says, we are colluding with the US as we prepare to strike Iran. Tomorrow we will stand at attention and wallow in our entitlement and our victimhood. We will talk of a second Holocaust and of a new Middle East. We will be the destroyers of worlds and the perennially destroyed. We will be a self-enclosed whole. So, Americans who think they are leading us, the Europeans cowering before their guilt, the Arabs finally proven to be subhuman. They wouldn't die so easily otherwise. Is it a new day or not? Our dead, they are also simply props now. Their deaths blend with the deaths of Palestinians and Lebanese. The hostages are our guardian angels. As we storm, rudderless, clueless, pointless, we know, we avenge, we enforce our superiority. We are the scourge and the core. We are the scourge and the core. Now, whether you agree with that or not, the facts of the matter is that Netanyahu is provoking needlessly an escalation, a regional war. It's already underway, and heaven forbid he doesn't lead us down the track of a world war. Now, I also want to point out that the Jerusalem Post carried a story today, and the Jerusalem Post is an Israeli publication. US to give Israel compensation if it hits acceptable targets in Iran and avoids other targets. Let me just read you the first paragraph. The US has reportedly offered Israel a compensation package if it refrains from attacking certain targets in Iran. Now, you know what those targets are, because Joe Biden, the current president of the United States, came out publicly and said Israel must not attack Iran's nuclear facilities and oil refineries. Why? Because that would again cause a nuclear disaster in the Middle East, provoke an all-out war, and also oil refineries, of course, would impact on us all and push up the cost of oil and petrol in our own countries. Russia has already said that it supports Iran and is refusing to take Netanyahu's calls. We are, I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but because of one man, Netanyahu, and any collusion he has with Trump to win the US election, we are one step away from escalated world I guess a world conflict. I don't know if it would be called a world war, but I guess it would. I don't know what a world war looks like in 2024. So I'm going to drill down on this because I think this is vitally important to us, and see if we can get some answers and see if we can see what is likely to occur. If ever we were at a crossroads, we are at one now. Okay, the question simply I'm going to ask is Netanyahu trying to provoke war in the Middle East, and why? Okay, so is Netanyahu trying to provoke? Let me just get some spray around here. Lift my energy. I do a fairly substantial clearing when I start these readings, clearing and protection of my energy. Is Netanyahu trying to provoke war in the Middle East? And remember that the Vice President Kamala Harris I echo her words all the time. Israel has a right to defend itself, but how it does matters. We're to the how it does matters part now. Okay. And the hostages still in Gaza. Now, I do also want to remind people that on the 9th and 10th of October, Hamas said you can have all your hostages back if you do not enter Gaza. Okay. Time and time again, we've seen opportunities for hostages to return home. Okay, so is Netanyahu trying to provoke war in the Middle East? And why? Is Netanyahu trying to provoke war in the Middle East? And why? So I'm seeing a two-way mirror. So there are, it's not just him, there are others here, almost like a back and forth communication. One of the obvious things that come to mind is that to elect Trump, who is not advocating for a two-state solution, and that would suit Netanyahu. So, is Netanyahu trying to provoke war in the Middle East? Also, I want to say that last time I looked at this question, I saw that Iran would attack pipelines. I thought either gas or oil pipelines. Iran militia in Iraq have launched an attack on Israel's gas pipelines in the ocean. So, okay, the King of Swords, and this is Libran energy, sits on his throne planning and strategizing. And then we get 3 cups lost and 1 remaining. There is a desperation here about Netanyahu. Okay. It's like he can't do anything else now. The Wheel of Fortune, you've heard a lot of the extremists in Israel talk about Greater Israel, which encompasses wide areas of Arab land. And this is a change of fortune here. The Wheel of Fortune is at his back. The timing of this is very important going into the US election, almost as if he has gotten away with it in the past and he will continue. He feels he has fortune. He's fortunate. Yet, we know that the IDF have been ambushed in Lebanon by Hezbollah, and that ground invasion is not going well. Circles of support, 3 players. I thought it's not him alone. He's talking with Trump and Kushner. Now, Kushner thought that when the Lebanese ground invasion looked like it was going to go well, Kushner, I'm quoting him on Twitter, said, how we got here, not everybody may like it, but at least can we see a silver lining of a complete victory in the Middle East. There's an abuse of power here that is crowning this reading. Now, money and land, and yet that is the thing that Israel's economy is fractured right now. Tourism, obviously nobody's going there. People are thinking twice about its tech, given what has happened with spyware, Pegasus, I think, in the past, and iPhones, and of course what has happened now with the pages and the satellite phones. But we see land, money, privilege here. Now we get justice is in the here and now, balancing the scales, and we have an end of an old chapter and a lot of difficulty, taken on too much. Can Israel win in Lebanon? Can Israel win waging war with Yemen, war with Syria, war with Lebanon, war with Iran, all at the same time? No, it can't. It's a hornet's nest. Hopes and fears, clinging to power. What would happen to Netanyahu if he was removed from power? He would have to face some sort of investigation for his role in how Hamas was allowed warnings were ignored, and how Hamas was allowed to attack. Two of Pentacles can be weighing up options, but also manipulation. I choose for that ship to go against the rocks because I know that another ship more favourable to me is coming in, and I am in a strong position. Eight of Wands, the quickness, the speed, aerial attacks, and we get new starts. So why is he trying to provoke a war? He's trying to promote this kind of balance, like not balance, crossroads. There's a scale here. He's deliberately trying to create unrest. This is a show of strength, and yes, he wants to remake the Middle Eastern map. He sees himself as the person who will westernize the Arab world, who will bring Western values, Western democracies, Western religions, but also he sees himself as a strong leader, an autocratic type of leader. He's not listening to anybody. The Moon card is volatility, and then we get the money here, and then we get the money, the Ten of Pentacles. What's underneath all of this is money. What's underneath of this is money. The Knight of Wands, and of course something coming to fruition in time. And then we get Russia and victory and the secrets here. And so it's interesting because this all dovetails around the US election and getting Trump elected. That's what I'm seeing. And the payoffs, I've always seen that. And there are payoffs for him personally, politically, and in relation to his own power. So is he taking advantage of the timing of the US election is the next question. And I think Biden has, how they have sources have confirmed that Biden has supposedly come to this conclusion himself. Is Netanyahu taking advantage of the timing of the US election? Is Netanyahu taking advantage of the timing? You see, lives are immaterial here when you've got these sort of global agendas here. Is Netanyahu taking advantage of the timing of the US election? Goodness gracious me. Justice, balancing the scales, and then we get a plan. A plan. I mean, I'm convinced they think that killing children and taking out paramedics, killing journalists, killing mothers and children sheltering in homes, they think that's okay. They don't think there's anything wrong with that. They see it as divine justice. Now we see the Ten of Rods again. It's not going because of the global outrage, the global moves from leaders like Macron have come out. No more arms. I think Bernie Sanders might be moving it's doomed to failure, but moving some sort of legislation to stop the arms going to Israel. The Hanged Man pausing and suspending something, getting others to look at something in a different way. And here we have the deals. There's just so much here that the media, that in good investigative journalists aren't covering, and that is Netanyahu's relationship with Trump and the Republican Party and the timing of this in terms of the US election. The Seven of Pentacles, if one plan doesn't work, I will do something else. There's clear threads here that these actions are designed to put the Biden-Harris government in ill repute, to sow illusion and delusion. The Page of Pentacles, what was the payoff? Young people also don't want war. Trump comes in and says, I will end this war. Biden's been made to look inept. The Sun card, full illumination in the hopes and fears. And then we get an inevitability. And so I'm afraid that the answer is yes. And we get Russia here playing both ends against the middle. And we get the Ten of Swords. Someone's downfall and something to do with the past. And there's the Devil card again. This, please understand, this question was in relation to whether or not he's taking advantage of the timing of the US election. Now, Russia is involved here. We have the Tower card. We have loss and we have death. And death again. And I know that many of you don't want, and there's my card for Harris. And her skill as well. I know many of you don't want to join these dots, but nevertheless, they're joined. So, is he taking advantage of the timing? Okay, who's behind the mirror? Who is this three-way conversation being taken place with? Let's be clear here. Who is behind the mirror? Who is Netanyahu talking to? Someone, there's some kind of line going to, what is that? Is that Russia? It's like, it's not St. Petersburg, or is it St. Petersburg? What is that? Something high up in the mountains, a mountainous pass there. Who is he talking to? Who is he talking to? Is Netanyahu talking to Trump? Is Netanyahu talking to Trump? Is Netanyahu talking to Trump? Is Netanyahu... There's a cross here, and it's lying on the ground. And we've got peace. The death, the end of war. Anyway, is Netanyahu talking to Trump? So we've got the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so if you become president, no more talks about two states. What are you going to give me? And then we get weighing up one's options, and there's the Two of Pentacles. We got the Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving help. Goodness. There's the Star card. Hope is in the past. In the sky is the Death card, the end of something, and then we get the presidency. Look at these cards. So we have the Three of Pentacles in response to, there's three. He's talking, there's three here. We get the manipulation, the choices, giving people choices. If we elect Trump, he'll be able to end the war in Ukraine and in the Middle East. Giving and receiving help. Hope is in the past. Death is in the sky. The Emperor is in the future position, and we get strength. We get the truth, and we get new starts. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear that he is talking to Trump. What a world. What a world we live in. Is he talking to Putin? Because I keep seeing Russia in the frame, even though they support Iran. What is happening here? Is Netanyahu speaking to Putin about causing mayhem for the US? Has Netanyahu ever spoken to Putin about his plans to take advantage of the timing of the US election? Is he speaking to Russia? Netanyahu and Russia. Is he speaking to Russia? There's the ships. So we get the Eight of Pentacles. Skill, not him, perhaps someone around him. An illusion and delusion. Then we get the Ace of Wands, the plan. Executing the plan. We get the Eight of Swords. Restriction is in the past. And we get the King of Swords. Now that is both, I think, Netanyahu and Vladimir Putin are Librans. And there's Trump. Do I need to paint things any clearer to you? There is the world, there is death, and there is control. We are not without hope. We are not without hope. I've looked at the astrology. I'll drill down on that. Harris's chart, while Trump's is positive as well around election time. Harris is by far more indicative of becoming the next president of the United States. Okay, so you have that and all the death that is going on of innocent people. For what? For what? Power, money, control. Okay, will Netanyahu... Okay. Will Netanyahu drag the US into war with them? Will Netanyahu drag the US into war? Now, Israel's an ally of the US, just like Australia is. But Israel is not behaving like an ally. Israel is pretty much killing thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of people to get Trump elected, and for their own means. Netanyahu. Okay, I've already talked about over 60% of Israelis do not want Netanyahu as their leader. So we'll make it clear, Netanyahu and the extremist in Israel are playing a game that affects us all. Very dangerous game. Okay, will US be drawn into the war? Will US be drawn into the war? Will US be drawn into the war? Lies and deceit. Will US be drawn into the war? Weariness, battle, fatigue. There are thousands of troops over there. We get abuse of power. It doesn't look like it. 5 of Pentacles, victims, those left Gaza, homeless, hostages. Oh my God. Queen of Swords is in the sky, Harris. And the Strength card is in the immediate future. Here we have the King of Swords. The Knight of Cups, some kind of offer to Netanyahu. The World card, endings and beginnings of such evilness. The Queen of Pentacles, security, domestic national security. The Four of Pentacles, I don't see holding back. And then we get new starts. I don't see Queen of Cups, nurturing self-interest. No, I don't see them being drawn into a war, but I still see help being given to them, the voters, and we get a lot of anxiety, betrayal, divorce, bloodshed, not divorce, but death. And then we get the secrets being kept. We get consistency and a change of fortune. Not necessarily, not at this point. I'm going to say US will not openly enter into war on behalf of Israel in the Middle East. Not yet. Okay, I don't see it right now. The volatility of this situation is such that things could change. Would Russia... okay, let's go to the attacks on... the planned attacks from Israel. Will Israel hit? Now, Biden said if Netanyahu hits nuclear facilities in Iran, that would be a very unwise move. Why? Because it would wipe out. It would cause a huge nuclear meltdown in Iran, and I do not think the world would allow that to happen. So, any more than Russia and hitting nuclear facilities in Ukraine. So, will Netanyahu hit nuclear facilities in Iran? 2 cards. We get the president and we get deals. Okay, so that's Biden, I think, talking with Netanyahu. Okay, so we get moderation as in the past, urging moderation. There's an offer on the table to Netanyahu. And then we get manifestation, can also be manipulation. We get the 8 of Wands. There will be an attack on Iran, a show of strength, an aerial attack from Israel, hopes and fears, win or lose. And then we get the King of Pentacles. There will be Queen of Swords, that's Harris and Trump, and the election, and then we get Five of Wands. They're going to attack, and then lies and deceit. Oh God, the energy is just so heavy here. Four of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, and the Sun card, and the Truth emerging. I don't see. I've got 2 yes and 2 no here. The deal that Biden's trying to do right now may avert this from occurring. Show me the King of Pentacles. Trump's here again with Kamala Harris and the voter. Oh, God. Okay. There's a chance that Biden will be able to avert these attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. So Netanyahu rarely listens to anyone, does he? Because it's like he's got fortune. This is a person that's not reasoned, not listening to reason. He's firmly convinced he's on a holy mission. Plus, if it helps get Trump elected, he never has to worry about a two-state solution ever again. Okay, so maybe even greater Israel is possible, which takes in Jordan and Syria and Lebanon. And okay, what's the ultimate result of this Middle Eastern war? Will it be restrained? Will war in the Middle East be restrained? God, I hope so. Queen of Wands and the Hanged Man. Yeah. Okay, so we don't know what the US is doing, how much input Harris is having, but it seems like she is having an input at this time. Someone is having that, and then we've got a pausing, not an escalation, barriers and guardrails, and the King of Wands, lawmakers, and the Supreme Court. Okay, so I'm going to the election now. So we're not having major world war before the election that I can see right now. After Harris is in, will she do things differently? And then I just want to quickly look at the North Carolina situation. If Harris is elected president, and I've seen Democrats are in power in 2025, if Harris is elected president of the United States, will she do things differently to Biden in the Middle East? If Harris is elected president in 2020, in after this presidential election, via the Electoral College in every other way, and she's in power in 2025, will she do things differently in the Middle East to Biden? Will Harris do things differently to Biden in the Middle East? Interesting, the mirror. The mirror is only one way now. Temperance and moderation, there's your answer. For all those who would vote for Trump over Harris, there's your answer. She will do things differently, a more moderate approach. Isolation, review and introspection. We get the Five of Pentacles, Gaza, the victims now, Lebanon. We get judgment, it's an inevitability, that's in the past, and we get the Wheel of Fortune here. The cycle's turning, Netanyahu, it's just not turning for him in the right way. Defending oneself, Israel has a right to defend oneself. How it does so matters. There's the Minor Arcana Death card. Surprise, bombshells. We get the World card in the hopes and fears. We get the Hierophant. That's a higher. This is the International Court. Netanyahu may find he does not have diplomatic cover under Harris. And why are we surprised? She's the prosecutor. Manipulation, manifestation, manifesting something, the law, and then we get heartache, death, And we get the Ten of Cups, families. She will be far more sympathetic to the plight of Gazans, innocents in Lebanon. But most of all, she's going to follow some sort of international law as a standard. That's interesting. Knight of Pentacles, consistency. We get the Tower, we get the President, we get the past, we get the Sun card. There, that's important. The Queen of Cups is important, and moving out of troubled waters. It's a new ball game when Harris becomes president. It is a new ball game. Hierophant, very powerful card. The courts, the law, the international order. Okay, last questions on Hurricane. Lies, spewing lies and misinformation to victims of Hurricane Helene. If any of my viewers are caught up, my deepest sympathy. I do have empathy. I've been through 2 floods myself. It is terrible, terrible, terrible. When I was reading about the earthquakes, I said, I'm just seeing so much water in these cards. Do you remember? And some of you said, oh, well, perhaps the earthquake happens out at sea. No, there was a warning about the hurricane and the flooding. Okay, so Trump's lies on the hurricane. Is Hurricane Helene, is this designed to help him win North Carolina? Is this misinformation designed to help him win North Carolina? You're being diddled out of money. I will help you. The money's going to the migrants. I will help you. Loss, walking away. And we get it's all about the money. Okay, this is lying about the money and the aid. Oh my God. And then we get those that are this was a cook up, a stitch up from the word go, and those that are helping him like Elon Musk, profiting. This is him profiting from the hurricane GoFundMe. Goodness gracious me. Profiting from people's death and misery. There he is. There he is at Mar-a-Lago. And this is also to create this kind of feeling around the Democrats. Withholding money. They're withholding money, stoking people's fears. We get the past card as the outcome card, the past, the new start, and then defending oneself. Absolutely, absolutely, it's all here. He is trying to sow fear around money and what people are getting or not getting. Come join me. I'll fix this. Absolutely. Absolutely. You wanted your answer? There it is. It's the money he's using, the funding, the FEMA funding, to get more votes. Very quickly, will this work? Will Trump's diabolical plan, how low is too low? How low is low? Lower. We can go lower than that. Will it work? Will it work? Much hangs on the US presidential election. Something coming to fruition in time. We get the Wheel of Fortune, the King of Wands, and then we get retreat. Not necessarily. We get the Star card, the King of Swords, logic, and then we get the utter devastation. The Hierophant comes in again, the courts, the law, and we also get the Ten of Wands. We get the voter, we get disappointment, we get the truth coming out, we get headlines and sowing of illusion, but we also get this. People will not take it lightly that he is using people's misfortune and death in a political way. There are others who would fall for this. Okay, one last for the Hurricane Milton. It is now a hurricane. Will it wreak the kind of damage in Florida that we're seeing in North Carolina? Will Hurricane Milton be severe in Florida? Will it wreak widespread damage? Hurricane Milton, there's water ingress, drains, overflowing, rivers. So there's going to be water damage. Will it cause widespread damage, please? I hope not. The Tower card, there's the Nine of Pentacles, people's homes, their resources. Five of Pentacles, people going to the shelters. The Hierophant is the card that keeps coming up. Hold on to your faith. And we get the families in the sky here, and then we get the Knight of Pentacles. Consistency. The Ace of Cups, you get that water theme now. It's going to cause monetary damage to infrastructure. There will be people who will have to go to shelters. Please give us a good outcome card. I don't think it's a crossroads. I don't think the damage is going to be as severe. There's Mar-a-Lago. Perhaps it will sustain damage. And then we get the Truth coming out. Truth's coming out in a big way. I don't see the damage as widespread as North Carolina, but I do see it hitting some homes, mainly through drains, rivers, overflowing, that kind of thing. I don't see it as widespread. And I still can't shake Trump. He's going to politicise this for Florida as well. Throw everything at us, why don't you? Spirit. Pluto in Capricorn. Oh my God. Oh my God. Be strong. The Hierophant card keeps reappearing, and the Hierophant is our higher selves. It is our connection with the divine. Please have faith, and we'll weather the storm together and with unity. Thank you for joining us.